Next up, we're going to go to Canada to hear from TomaGold and their CEO, David Grondin. David.
Good day, everyone. The best way to describe TomaGold is a project generator based in Montreal, Canada. Over the course of the history of the company, we have been able to acquire, develop, and option 3 projects that are already in joint venture with majors, IAMGold, Goldcorp, and New Gold. So we'll go over that. The presentation basically outlined these joint venture that we've been we've been successful to put in place. As I mentioned, we have 3 joint venture in effective. Monster Lake with IAMGold. We have a project, I will talk to you about Obalski. A project we like to acquire, to redevelop, and eventually option, present a lot of historical information that we interpret and rework. We don't really get into early stage, grassroots, greenfield, whatever the expression you want to use. We also have, we just created this early in the year, gold trading division. So basically, instead of producing mine or generating cash flow through production, we've been able to set up and develop a gold brokerage division. So basically, we move gold from mines in South America to refinery, and we make a spread. You could say that this opportunity comes from all of my board and myself as a former bankers and stuff. So this is a good opportunity for us to grow, and that doesn't really imply any risk for the company either. Important facts, IAMGold owns 20% of the company. We have 55% institutional ownership in the company. You have Quebec-based fund, Asian fund. It's widely distributed through Europe, Asia, and America. In Monster Lake in Quebec, it's in Chibougamau. It's 1 hour and a half north of Montreal. We have the dominant land position. Part of the joint venture, it's Monster Lake, Lac Alaujon, and Winchester. These option agreements were signed in 2013 with IAMGold after the discovery we made in March 2013. And following that, initially, we were only the owner of this. And following the discovery, we were able to secure more ground, and we acquired all these claims, and basically now we control everything. In a strategy to consolidate an area for eventually have a takeout, because this is the goal at the end. The major or the partner will basically control most of the mineralization and all the structure in the area. Brief outlook on the Monster Lake JV. IAMGold is already at 50%. We have 45%. We have a minority partner at 5%. The Quebec government worked on the project for over 20 years. They spent over $10 million on the project. And after 20 years, they deemed the project to be non-interesting enough, and they dropped the project. Some prospector came, they developed it, and then we bought it back from them in 2012. So the project is 3,000 hectares. It contains 5 major gold zones. And right now, you have over 30 drill intersections that contain 10 to, actually, it's not exact, it's 381 grams. It's a very high-grade project. We just completed our maiden resource estimate on one specific zone on Megan 325. We'll just talk about that just after. IAMGold is also in their second earning to earn up to 75%. They have to spend $10 million on the project. They have currently done and completed $7.5 million of that 10. So they've been working aggressively on the project, and also considering that they just bought 20% of the company back in September. I would say it's a really good endorsement on the project. There's other way to put it, but after a JV, and after that, when they buy in the equity of the company, I would say that the path for the exit is quite clear. There's some success payment also. The first resource estimate that came in March, just a few months ago, it's on one specific area. So I just remind you, there was over 81,000 meters of drilling. So it's just on a specific zone. So Megan 325, that includes 39,000 meters of drilling. So the resource came back at 1 million ton at 12.1 gram for 433,000 ounces. Please mind that the cutoff was 3.5, and mostly, this is important, the cap was between 20 and 150 grams. So there's some geologists and engineers in the room that have worked on JARC or 42101 resource estimate. You have to be pretty comfortable to use a cap at 150 when you're using high grade. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's open still laterally and at depth. The complete structure is open, and IAMGO's been working actively on this. This is obviously the main zone. This is the parallel chute, and this is the underground, not the lower zone. The main zone here, I would say that this is closed. There's nothing more we can do. The only thing we can do is open the surface, which was drilled and tested this winter. We're waiting for the grades. This should come out in, I would say, in another week. We're expecting within a week or two. And place to expand also comes at depth with the lower zone. These are the results that was published for the last winter program in 2017, because we're still waiting for the 2018. And as I was mentioning to you, we have high grade. This is an example of a few sample holes that we have, like 120, 60, 80. So you're not in a typical 3, 6, 8, 9, 12 grams. You're really in a multi-ounce effect black quartz vein system. Yeah. So when we acquire a project, we always look for historical information that we can rework, reinterpret, and put our touch on it. That's how we were successful with Monster Lake, and this is, I think, we will be successful with Obalski. So Obalski is only a few minutes out of the Chibougamau mining town. It's in northern Quebec. It's basically all our projects are in Chibougamau mining camp. We pay $960,000 for that in share and cash. So on the project, you have 60,000 meters of historical work, 230 holes. We have 1 shaft, 2 levels of development, 2 ramps, and we pay less than $1 million for that. So what we've been doing for the last 2 years, which is important to note, we bought it in 2016. We've been reinterpreting all the information. Previous owners were mostly private families and stuff that were mostly interested in mining the surface high-grade gold vein and not really into like geology, compilation, and resource development, I would say. So we've spent the last 2 years, first of all, retrieving the physical core that existed. We've been able to recover approximately 65% of that core physically. It was not lost. And the project exists in 1928. So you are about like 90 years of existence. So a lot of information has been developed on the project. There was 6 previous, I would say, large owners that did some work. So most of the work was, like I said, in paper. We have some roll-up plans, like so yellow that you can barely see anything. So we've reinterpreted everything, put everything in a GIS, and we have an amazing team. It took them almost 2 years. I can say that the work is completed, and we're expecting to produce a report, not a 42-101 though, but a report to present you, give you some cross-section, 3D modeling, probably by June 15. That's our target. We'll do a press release about it. We'll put it online, because even if I want to show you something, I will need to carry approximately like 600 pounds of paper with me to show you what it looks like. So it doesn't really make sense. As part of the strategy I was mentioning, our goal is really to team up with major to advance and develop resource. So this is another JV we've been able to secure with Goldcorp. This is in Red Lake. For people familiar with Goldcorp, this is basically the backyard of, this is basically where Goldcorp play in Canada. This is where most of their most prolific mines are. So we've secured the JV on Cedars Lake. We are 40%, they're 60. There's a 360,000 ounce deposit. That will be updated, and probably the ounce will be lower. The report was produced in 2009. So when you reinterpret and you produce with 2018 standard, the same data would generate us a little bit less ounce, but this is the same thing. It's open laterally and at depth. We're waiting for a work plan on the project. So this is just another example. So these projects, the concept of working with a major is you share the expense also, which also, like, basically my dollar works double with their dollar. So you accomplish a lot more. Baird, not much to say, but this is interesting. Actually, this is a story I can tell here. Baird, basically, we did the JV with them. When we announced the deal, first of all, we had no historical information on the project whatsoever. When we announced the deal, a geologist called us. He said, oh, by the way, we have a database. It was encrypted. We've been able to decrypt the database. And now we have access to historical 30 holes, full geophysics report that date back to 1970. We've submitted all the data to Gold Corp and New Gold, and now we're compiling and we're planning work on this in the summer. We paid that $90,000, and now just because the data is available and we have all the location of every drill hole that exists since the beginning, it's probably worth a few million just right there because we're kind of opportunistic on this, I would say. Last thing, the gold brokerage, really simple. We take gold from artisanal and small co-op mine in South America. We package, take care of all the logistics, security. We ship to refinery, make a cut. So for people in finance, you know what it is. So basically, it's pure trade finance. The chain of custody is risk-free. We have no commodity price risk. We have no currency price risk. We have no potential leak of product. It's always into the custody of a vault, Loomis, Brinks, whatever. We're actually raising, we did a second trade. We're doing, the third closed yesterday, actually, and the fourth one is on its way. We're doing a $2 million debt raise as we speak. This business model is really simple. The more capital you have in your bank account, the more gold you can move. It's really simple as that. That's it. The miner, if they see that you have the money in the bank account and it's in Colombia, they will just ship the gold. And we don't pay the miner until it's been assayed 3 times and we have the permit to export. So basically, if you want to try to find where the risk is, I've not been able to find it myself. So that was the first brick that we had. I'm done, sorry. Rapidly, what you can expect from us, we're waiting for grade from TomaGold in the next week or 2, like I said. We will also, on the more grassroots project, less advanced, we will also disclose the IP survey that was completed on a very large copper anomaly. The compilation model on Obalski I just mentioned, some other compilation on the project near Monster Lake, and we're working really actively to close that $2 million debt to increase the gold trade. And $2 million in gold trade would generate about $1 million in free cash flow for the company over a 12-month period. So it's quite profitable. It's just a matter of lining up the money, and after that, you just increase the volume, and that's it. The rest is in the presentation. Thank you.